Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather. Today, I'm meteorologist Al Peterlin. I'd like to talk about the weather health risk for December 18th, 2025. And if ever there's been a day with nowhere to hide, December 18th or Thursday will be, with some kind of activity going on at almost every section of the country other than the Southwest. And you'll note that for once, the pressure, the temperature, and the POI all seem to align almost vigorously. Looking at the surface map, we see a new area of very cold, frigid weather pushing down the plains, high pressure mushing in, and we have a cold front running all the way from the Michigan Upper Peninsula low, cutting all the way across the Ohio Valley, eastern or western Ohio, eastern Indiana, all the way through Louisville, all the way down to New Orleans, and unsettled weather everywhere east of the front, up the Appalachians, up the eastern seaboard, but holding off a little bit in New England. We have another influx of very moist air across the Pacific Northwest from Northern California to Washington, Oregon, and Vancouver. And you'll note that there is a little bit of a warm front there. Looking at our vitality index, and this is a composite of all of those weather elements that may be difficult for someone to adjust to, and you'll note that we have something happening almost everywhere other than the Southwest, and so we'll look to the particulars there as we go through the pressure, temperature, and dew point. Looking at pressure change, and these pressure systems have been moving eastward dramatically, flip-flopping and playing hopscotch for the last few days, and this is another example. We have falling pressure here in the Pacific Northwest from Northern California, Washington, Oregon, Vancouver. We have falling pressure from the Mississippi all the way from Louisiana up through Missouri, Arkansas, Iowa, into Minnesota, all the way to the Appalachians, and that is falling pressure. But we have rising pressure and very cold air flowing into the plains from the Texas and Oklahoma panhandle, across Colorado, Kansas, Wyoming, Montana, up into the Dakotas, and picking up the westernmost sections of Minnesota. And you'll note that the rising pressure here again seems to hold from Massachusetts up through Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, and the Canadian provinces, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island. Looking at temperature change, and it very much follows the pressure pattern. You'll see we have some rising temperatures here in the Pacific Northwest, dramatically falling temperatures here from Texas clear on up into the Dakotas, and then we have warming temperatures from the Appalachians east, and that is warming back to near normal temperature readings from the frigid cold that we've had. Dew point temperature is very much in line, and you can see that it is rising dew point temperatures in the Pacific Northwest and in the east, falling as we move down the plains, and the vapor pressure map tends to suggest the same. Looking at POI, or our measure of oxygen in the atmosphere, and here again we're very much following that same pattern with the risk of migraine up and down the plains from Texas, Oklahoma, all the way up through the Dakotas, and from Colorado, Wyoming into eastern Montana, and across Missouri and Iowa up into Minnesota. We also have that risk of migraine here in the New England states, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, and off to the Canadian provinces. You'll note that we have the risk of asthma and arthritis is running across the Pacific Northwest, Northern California, into Northern Nevada, Oregon, and Washington, and then a significant risk of asthma and arthritis all the way from Louisiana, actually East Texas, Louisiana, across the southeast, including Florida, and then all the way up the Appalachians to Michigan, and up the eastern seaboard, all the way up into central Pennsylvania. Again, pretty much as I said, nowhere to hide. Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather today. Let us know where you're located.